Sup nerds, Across the Spider-Verse, a movie I went into thinking was going to be solid. Nothing great, like nothing fantastic, whatever. They had the fantastic movie with Across the Spider-Verse. It was going to be a good transition into Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is probably also going to be another fantastic movie. But if you told me that this movie was going to blow me out of the water, that was the analogy you used, I would say no. This movie took the hydrogen out of the water, took the oxygen out of my lungs, because this movie was breathtakingly amazing. From the music to the art styles to the entire plot, everything in this movie was amazing. But without further ado, let's get into all the reasons why this movie is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. But before that, if you enjoy this video and you enjoy my reviews of nerdy movies that you love, that I love, that everyone loves, make sure to make like Miguel O'Hara. Slam that like button, slam that subscribe button, and slam that notification bell like you slam Miles against that fallen train. And now, let's get into the music. I think as Metro Boomin was writing these songs, his paper was literally on fire, because him and everyone else on this soundtrack were just on absolute fire. Oh my gosh, personally, Hummingbird's my favorite, but I know that there's so many different songs. There's like 6 or 7 songs that the majority of people absolutely love. It's not like, oh, this is the song, and then these are good. Like, there is not one main theme song from the soundtrack that everyone loves. Like, it is a good spread. And it's just because there's so many good songs. Also, I love that they gave him a little cameo in the movie. I thought that was really cool. He did a fantastic job and deserves to be there. And, of course, the line was a little funny. And if you want to see my tier list on the album, make sure to subscribe and look for it, because there's going to be a few Spider-Verse videos trickled around in the next few weeks, in the next few months. Maybe 1, maybe 2. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And next, we're going to be moving on to the characters. Genuinely, I don't think I've liked so many main and side characters in one film. I think that's the primary reason that it's so good. The first movie did the same thing, but now they've brought back those characters. They've built on their backstories, and now I've added so many more new main characters that every different group of people love. It doesn't matter if it's a race reason, they relate to them for their gender reason, or they're like just something that everyone has to relate to. There's a T-Rex. I don't think people are gonna relate to the T-Rex, but you get my point. There's a cowboy, there's a Puerto Rican guy, there's a Hispanic guy, there's a girl, there's a dad, there's like, it's so many different, there's a punk rock guy. How awesome is that? And I think that's the reason why so many people love this movie, is because they can relate to somebody in the film. So let's go over all those amazing new characters. And the old ones. For the people who like Ben Reilly, it's just they like his goofy sense of humor. He's so goofy. That alley scene was amazing. Or they just like Jake Peralta. They just like Jake Peralta, and he's literally the definition of what Yuri would call Spider Cop.
What? No. You promised you wouldn't do that
Spider Cop.
Please, no.
For the people who love Pav, he's lighthearted, he's funny, he's just like goofy and innocent, and he loves to make fun of Gwen and Miles' falling chemistry between them. And obviously, not to mention, a great Indian representation. Come on! And for the people who love Mayday, come on, how freaking cute is she? For the people who love Peter B. Parker, a great dad, a great mentor, a fantastic Spider-Man, and I think he is the embodiment of Spider-Man and the vision that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko had for Spider-Man and Peter Parker. For the people who love Miguel O'Hara, he's physically tough, he's broody, he's dark, and he portrays the fantasy dream that almost, I think, every guy has, I guess some girls or whatever, of just going full out, not pulling their punches, and it being justified, kind of like the anti-villain route. Obviously, he is wrong in what he's doing, and we'll get to why he's wrong, but he doesn't realize he's wrong. He thinks he's doing the right thing, and he thinks he has to do it, but not really. We'll get to that a little bit later. For the people who love Gwen Stacy, she's our representation of heartbreak of Spider-Man. She's just the perfect representation. The first scene is amazing, and she's just seeking someone to listen to her and trust her. And she is focused on that and focused on herself, which it happens sometimes. But at the end of the movie, she realizes that she's wrong and she needs to listen to Miles. And she forms the gang. So, yeah, it's amazing. For the people who love Miles, he's just the perfect version of Spider-Man that we need right now. He's young and he doesn't want people to tell him that he doesn't deserve to be there just because he's new, just because he's young, just because he's a kid. He's also a different version of the vision that Steve and Stan had of Spider-Man, that he should just put everything he can into saving people regardless of what happens to him. And he knows that Miguel has to be wrong because that's not how the universe should be, and he knows that there's a flaw in the way he's thinking. For the people who love the Spot, he's just a dude. He's a scientist. He did a little messed up stuff, yes, of course. But he's got a family. He wants to fall and go see his family. He wants them to look at him like his parents' son. It's not a crime to do that, but he doesn't let Miles help him. He just is angry and just wants to be mad at Miles. Doesn't want to say, hey, can you help me out? I want to see my family again. I want them to see my face. Like, I want them to see me. And it just sucks. But hopefully in this next movie, Miles will not have to kill him, and he'll give him the opportunity to save him, to help him out. These dynamic of these characters is just so good together, and you got a different feeling everywhere, and it's amazing. The heartbreak, coolness, the dark and broody, the angry, the rebellious, like, it's amazing. And the fact that they can fit all this into one movie is crazy to me, and it doesn't feel overloaded. I don't know how they do it. Next, we have the art styles and the certain shots. Of course, we have another masterpiece of a film. I think that's the reason why these films have been recognized by so many people. Even if they're not Spider-Man fans, I feel like they can appreciate how good the art is. We're gonna go over the certain shots you have. First, you have Gwen and Miles upside down from the city, and it's shot where you have the whole city of New York, and you have Miles and Gwen sitting on the building upside down, showing how they're so different from everyone else. They've been disrespected, they've been mistreated, and they've been judged. But no one understands them, and it's understandable, and they can't tell them why they're so different from them, but they help those people out anyways because it's the right thing to do, and I think that proves why Spider-Man is such a good character. And the depiction of the multiverse in every single way, the way Miguel shows him, the way he falls into the hexagonal type realm into the Spider Society, all of that is just beautifully chaotic, and that's a concept I'm going to be talking about a lot more in my next video, the beautiful chaos of the multiverse. Gwen's universe just being watercolor of her emotions, the red anger, the dark blue sadness, and the warm orange of her father's hug from the sadness that she had is just so visually amazing, and it's just so, it's so good to like watch that happen. And it makes those emotions hit harder. Moonbatten being so bright and colorful, and its theme being so fast-paced matches perfectly with Pav's energy of being innocent and sweet and goofy, and it just works so well. The Spider Society is crazy and intricate looking, it's awesome. But when things go wrong and chaos ensues, he jumps down into the broody, the dark broody city, just like Miguel, and then he goes to the fast-paced train, and everything gets crazy, and all that craziness happening is blinding the viewer and the rest of the Spider-Man of Miles' true plan to go jump off the train and go back to the machine to take him home. And the reason that the Earth 42 twist works so well is because it is a dark, broody city filled with screams, and it's dark, and it's just ugly, and it's run by the Sinister Six. The reason why we don't notice and we get fooled by it is because Miles is so tense, and he's panicking, and he's stressed, and we don't know how long he's genuinely been away from home. We don't know how long it's been. I don't know how time works in the multiverse. It's weird, but it works because it's so disgusting and Miles is so tense. And now we're going to be talking about web slinging. You can tell who a character is before they even speak a word by their web slinging. Miguel has this anger, like, rush at people. He loves to use his abilities and his crawl and his aggression to go get people. He doesn't really like using his swinging and his fake webs. Like, he doesn't like doing that. You can tell who he is before he even talks. You have Hobie Brown. He just loves to just dive. He just dives. Like, he'll swing and then he'll, like, let go and then, like, fall like this or fall like that or, like, do, like, a head dive. Like, you can tell he just doesn't care. And he's got his guitar in his folding hand, and he's just awesome. But then you have Miles. He's got this confidence that I think a lot of people would have if they were given Spider-Man abilities. He goes like this, and he's confident in his ability to be Spider-Man and swing, and it's just awesome to see all these characters be just so different with their swings. There's a crutch girl, and she uses her crutches as like a fighting thing. You got the T-Rex, which is sick. You have the little Spider-Man, he just jumps at you, and it's really scary. It was really scary to see him and just be this little jit, and he just swings at you. Yeah, but like you can tell who the characters are based on their web slings. Now we're going to be talking about the plot, but I should probably read this quote real quick so that you guys get the point, because this is probably the most important part of the plot. Here we go. Wherever you go from here, you have to promise me to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from, and never doubt that he's loved, and he never lets anyone tell him at those big fancy places he's going to be at, tell him that he doesn't belong there. This quote from Rio Morales, Miles' mom, is probably the reason why Miles is such a good Spider-Man. Miles gets his care for everyone, and he thinks that everyone deserves a chance, and everyone deserves a shot to live their lives. The reason why he defies Miguel in that moment is because of this quote from his mom, that he shouldn't let people stomp on him. People tell him that he doesn't belong there just because he's a kid. This meaningful moment between Rio and Miles Morales is probably the first reason why I realized that Miguel has to be wrong about the multiverse. The reason why you have to follow these kind of events, this has to happen, is probably wrong. It would be so hypocritical to have Gwen get all these spider people to defy Miguel. Just for next movie they say, oh yeah, no, Miguel's right. Miles, you do have to learn that, like, there's some things and some people we can't save. Like, yeah, I feel like that's kind of a good message, but it doesn't seem right with what they're setting up. And I agree. This is why Miguel's such a good villain, is because he does have a point, and it does seem right until you look into it a little bit more, and it doesn't seem so right anymore, and it would be very hypocritical to defy what they're already setting up. So I'll be talking about that more in my next video, but yeah, let's move on. And now we have the ending. Leading into Beyond the Spider-Verse, we have Gwen and her whole team defying Miguel, and we're gonna go fight him, and yeah, and we're gonna go save Miles, and we're gonna go save him from Earth 42, we're gonna go save his dad, and we're gonna beat the Spot. Okay. That's what we have, but I can't see realistically a reality where Miles kills the Spot. I don't see where it would make sense emotionally and in the message where Miles would kill him. It wouldn't be what his parents want. Even if Spot goes to try to kill his dad, I don't think his dad would want him to go and kill the Spot. I think he is better than that. I feel like they are better than that. Miles is just a bigger person. Also in the movie, I believe that Miles will meet Madam Web, and she'll show him how to defeat the Spot and how the multiverse actually works. I also think he's going to meet the 3 versions of the live-action Peters: Tom, Toby, and Andrew. They might be animated, but I think they'll be the live-action versions just in the frame. It's not like they're opposed to that. They had Childish Gambino as the Prowler show up. Like, I don't think they're opposed to have live action in the animated movie. It's also Beyond the Spider-Verse, so it's like kind of like into the live action. Well, I don't know. We'll see, but I feel like that'll happen, and I feel like this will either set up a Miles and Tom setup in Spider-Man 4 in the MCU. I think that this Miles might become the Miles in the MCU, but maybe not. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but we'll see. But I do think we're gonna get Miles in a Spider-Man 4. I just don't know if it'll be this Miles or a different Miles. Probably a different one. But it'll either set up that, or it'll set up TASM 3, Sinister 6, kind of like a Miles and Andrew team up to fight the new Sony Sinister 6, which might be Kraven, maybe El Muerto. I don't think they're even gonna I don't think they still have it on their calendar. I think they just canceled it, but I don't know. We'll see if that's still happening. Kraven, Venom, Vulture, and Morbius. I think it's something along those lines, but I don't know what they're still going with. And then they'll have Madam Web in that. But I just don't see how they're gonna run this. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not a big fan of how Sony's doing their Spider-Verse stuff, other than Into and Across the Spider-Verse. Everything else in their universe is kind of weird. My problems, and I don't have many. The one I think I'll say is that it is a lot to take in. It is a lot. I do think they do a fantastic job of balancing it, but it is a lot to take in. It gets confusing at times, but I think that's the point. I think it's supposed to be confusing, like, because Miguel's not right. So, of course, it's going to be a little confusing when he's explaining, oh, this is how it works. But you're like, no, but it wouldn't make sense why it would work. So it seems hypocritical, but I feel like they'll set it up like, oh, yeah, Miguel was wrong in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Like, I think that's kind of the point. And my second problem is not even my problem. I think it's everyone else's problem. But I'm going to use this to complain about other people's complaints. Like, they said, dude, I hated the cliffhanger. Oh my gosh, I felt like a weird, like, left out, like, on a weird time. And, like, you had no problem with Infinity War. Thanos, like sits out on his thing after just snapping everyone away. You had no problem with that. Yes, everyone was mad, but it was more of like oh, I just want to go see the next one. That's what this should be. I guess it felt like the movie ended and they didn't end it. Like, they left that, like, a weird spot where, like, oh, it's setting up the new team, and then it ends. But I feel like that's kind of the point. It's like, oh, okay, so now I want to go see the new team next movie, and now I want to go see if the other Miles is good or not, or if Miles is going to fold him, punch him, get out of his chains like Peter B. Parker did in Into the Spider-Verse, or, like, what's going to happen. I thought it was good, but I guess other people complained. But now, we're going to get into my overall review. Let's go. For the art styles, I have it as a 10 out of 10. For the characters, I have it a 9.5 out of 10. For the message, I have it as a 9 out of 10. The top 3 moments and the shots, I have it as a 10 out of 10. The quotables, I have it as an 8 out of 10. Sound effects and score, I have a 9.5 out of 10. And how well this film does in the genre it is, I give it a 10 out of 10. And that gives you an overall rank of 9.475 out of 10. And I think it might be my second favorite comic book movie of all time. I will show you a tier list of my favorite comic book movies of all time, but we'll get to that another day. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoy my nerdy reviews or my tier list or whatever, and you want to see more, and you want to make sure you pay attention and look out for those Spider-Verse videos that are coming soon, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell like Uncle Aaron punched that punching bag that looked like he almost blew off Miles' head. Yeah, that was crazy. But make sure to have a fantastic day, and if you cannot have a fantastic day today, have a fantastic day tomorrow. And before we get there, like, I want to reward you guys to get to the end of this video, because that's awesome. Thank you for watching this whole thing, or skipping through, whatever. I'll give you a tidbit, a little sneak peek to my next video. It's called Mediation versus Control. And that is the battle between Miles and Miguel. Totally controlling the multiverse is a crime. That is criminal. No free will, no respect. That is just pure evil. So that must mean that Miguel is wrong about the multiverse. And that'll leave Miles and Gwen and the rest of the Spidey gang to mediate, not control, but mediate the Spider-Verse. They won't force the Spider People to apply to those canon events what Spider People are supposed to be, what they're supposed to do. They will make sure those villains and those other Spider People will not ruin and destroy the multiverse that is created and is binded by every being in every single universe, and they are binded together between this connection. And that is beautiful and chaotic, and usually those don't go together, but in this sense it makes sense. There is mediation so that all these universes and every being can live in harmony. And if that little spiel interested you, make sure to like this video and subscribe, and look for me on your suggested page, your subscription page. Look at me for TikTok, echoes__ and Geeko. It's amazing. Go check me out and have a fantastic day. If you cannot have a fantastic day today, have a fantastic day tomorrow. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!